The question of whether Marc Marquez's World Championship title was orchestrated by Dorna and Ducati is a heated debate that naturally arises among fans, especially since the end-of-season events felt so dramatic and timely. The situation certainly aroused suspicion. An underdog struggling on an old spec bike secured the title, and shortly afterward, the bike of his fiercest rival and factory teammate, Pecco Bagnaia, suddenly recovered from the technical problems that had plagued him for months. However, when we analyze this phenomenon not only from the perspective of sporting drama, but also from the perspective of cold business logic, complex technical strategy, and the need for competitive integrity, this conspiracy theory loses its footing. The evidence suggests that Marquez's victory was the result of Ducati's brilliant strategy to secure its best assets, and Pecco's rise was the result of a hard-won technical solution, not a pre-scripted scenario. One of the main arguments against the fixing theory is the essential integrity of the sport itself, which the promoter, Dorna, fiercely protects. For Dorna, the reputational risks of a match-fixing scandal being uncovered far outweigh the potential benefits of short-lived hype. Fixing results, let alone a world title, would not only destroy MotoGP's credibility with fans, but could also trigger a global exodus of sponsors and, worst of all, eliminate the participation of major manufacturers like Yamaha, Honda, or KTM, the financial and technical pillars of the championship. Dorna benefits most from intense competition, authentic drama, and unpredictable results. A genuine comeback story achieved by a legend like Marquez, without any fixing, is the most effective and expensive marketing tool they can have. From Ducati's perspective, their strategic decision regarding the 2025 factory seat assignment provides concrete evidence that their actions are driven by long-term business rationality and the principle of competitive fairness, rather than match-fixing. A critical question arises. If the goal was match-fixing, why didn't Ducati simply arrange for Pecco Bagnaia to secure the 2024 World Championship, even though he is their official factory rider? The answer lies in the fact that Jorge Martín, a rider for the satellite Pramac team, had actually won the title the previous season. Martín's success is clear evidence that Ducati is implementing a philosophy of technical equality, a rare occurrence in the MotoGP paddock, ensuring that both factory and satellite riders have an equal chance of winning. Therefore, claims of match fixing are irrelevant, as Ducati has proven to be very fair and focused on performance data. The final decision to lock Marc Marquez into a factory contract, replacing Martín, was made in June 2024, around the Catalunya round, when the World Championship was still very much up for grabs. This decision was a strategic gamble based on data calculations and predictions of Marquez's potential comeback. The main reason behind this bold move was not past results, but rather Ducati's realistic fear of losing such an extraordinary talent to a rival manufacturer like KTM or Aprilia. They knew that Marc Marquez, a legend with 8 world titles, would pose a serious threat to any competitor. By ensuring the legend remained under the red flag, Ducati not only secured the world's best talent, but also neutralized any future threat, a perfectly rational move in the face of global business competition. This confirms that the decision was a shrewd market maneuver, not part of a staged scenario. Dall'Igna's own arguments support this position, asserting that his decision was rooted in observing Marquez's qualitative aspects, not just raw speed data. The Ducati general manager repeatedly praised the clarity of mind and structured program implemented by Marquez in his quest to return to the top. This means that Dall'Igna judged Marquez based on his methods, not solely on his current results. Marquez's consistent podium competitive performances on last year's GP23 bike convinced Ducati that the rider had found a winning mental and physical formula. In other words, Ducati signed him because they saw he would be a champion, not because he was guaranteed a championship. It was a gamble based on managerial intuition and data-driven predictions, far more convincing than any conspiracy. As for the main focus of suspicion, Pecco Bagnaia's sudden resurgence at Motegi after Marquez clinched the title, this can be more reasonably explained through the lens of prototype motorcycle engineering challenges. The Ducati team is known as one of the most meticulous and methodical engineering teams in the paddock. Pecco's problem was a loss of feeling on the GP25, which was difficult to track. As the article reveals, the solution was ultimately found by reintegrating elements from the Desmosedici GP24 into his GP25. The process of developing a motorcycle is no magic. The team had to experiment, collect data, and verify changes at various circuits. Dall'Igna himself admitted that they had to travel a whole thorny path before finding the right solution, a process that took a long time and coincidentally happened to fall right at the end of the season. Dall'Igna's statement regarding the delay and helping Pecco further denies any intentional delay in performance. It's not that it was impossible to help Bagnaia before, but to do that we needed to know what to do. And to know what to do, sometimes you have to create a route. This sentence implies no malice or deliberate withholding, but rather that they simply haven't found a technical solution that works effectively, despite their best efforts. It took time, intensive testing, and research to identify the specific combination that restored Pecco's comfort. The coincidence of the solution's discovery, coinciding with Marquez's title clinching, is indeed dramatic, but it reflects the complexity of troubleshooting high-stakes racing techniques. In fact, Marquez had to fight hard in every race, often starting from less than ideal positions and relying on his legendary adaptability and racing instincts to overtake. These real-life struggles on track, including failed finishes and strategic errors, prove that the outcome was determined purely by performance and competition on the track, not by a prearranged scenario. Therefore, the most rational conclusion is that the racing season we witnessed was a triumph of strategic management, rider perseverance, and engineering success. Marc Marquez's title was the culmination of his personal comeback planning and Ducati's bold decision to sign him before he had fully proven himself, while Pecco Bagnaia's resurgence was the fruit of the engineer's hard work, ultimately overcoming a difficult technical challenge. Rather than a conspiracy, we witnessed a unique and dramatic moment in the history of sport, where a team's gamble paid off and a technical solution was found just in time, resulting in a storyline far more compelling and rewarding than a rigged outcome. Considering all the evidence, from the bold contract decisions in Catalunya to the technical analysis of Pecco's comeback at Motegi, it's clear that Marc Marquez's World Championship title was the culmination of Ducati's brilliant strategy and competitive fairness, not a rigged result. Claims of match-fixing lose ground in the face of evidence of business rationality, the realistic fear of losing key talent to rival teams, and the real challenges of developing a prototype bike. This season was a remarkable demonstration of how individual genius can transform a team's fortunes, and how risk management at the highest levels of sport can create drama far more compelling than fiction. Ultimately, what we witnessed was not a scripted scenario, but a historic moment where strategy triumphed over sentiment, cementing Ducati's dominance and restoring a legend to the highest throne.